I never thought I'd be the guy sitting here telling a story like this, but here I am. My name's Mike, and I've been married to Lisa for about 5 years now. When we first got together, everything seemed perfect. She was smart, funny, a little bitchy at times, but that was part of her charm. We had a good life, or so I thought. I was working my ass off at my job, trying to build a future, and she was supposed to be my partner, my best friend. Lately, though, I noticed changes. Small stuff at first. She was more secretive with her phone, hiding it when I was around, texting late at night, quick to shut down any questions I had. I'd catch her smiling at her screen in a weird way or hurriedly deleting messages. I didn't think much of it at first. Maybe she was just talking to friends or something. But the gut feeling gnawed at me, and I knew something was off. The real trouble started a few weeks ago when I came home early from work. I had an instinct. I can't explain it, like a gut punch. I decided to check her phone just to see if I could catch anything. I know that's probably not the best move, but I was desperate to understand what was going on. I found a string of texts, just casual at first, then things took a turn. Words like miss you, can't wait to see you again, and last night was unbelievable, all from her boss, Ryan. That was the moment everything changed. I saw receipts for hotel stays, date nights, and I swear my stomach sank. The receipts were from last month, right around the time she told me she was pregnant. She'd been acting weird about the pregnancy, avoiding questions, crying at odd times, and I just thought maybe she was overwhelmed. Turns out it was because she was sleeping with Ryan the whole time. I didn't know what to do. I sat there holding her phone, staring at those messages, feeling like I'd just been punched in the gut. Every possible hope I had for us just started unraveling. The woman I loved, the woman I trusted, was lying to me, sneaking around, having sex with her boss. It hit me like a freight train. How long had this been going on? Was it more than just last month? How many lies had I been living with? I knew I couldn't keep pretending. I needed to confront her, but even as I gathered the courage to do it, my mind was spinning. I kept telling myself, she's lying. She's probably going to deny everything. She's a bitch for doing this to me, especially now when I'm about to become a father. It was wrong, but I started planning how I'd call her out, what I'd say, what I'd do next. All I knew was I couldn't just let it go. Not anymore. The night I decided to confront Lisa was the worst night of my life. I remember sitting there in my living room, trying to breathe normally, trying to get a grip on what I'd just found out. My hands were trembling as I looked at her phone again, scrolling through those messages. How casual she was, how comfortable she seemed, cheating on me right under my nose. It was like I was reading someone else's story, not mine. I knew I had to do this face to face. I couldn't just yell at her over text or storm out. I wanted her to see the anger, the pain, the betrayal in my eyes. I waited until she was in the shower, probably thinking I was just going to ignore everything for a while, and then I called her out. When she finally came out, still dripping wet, I was standing there with her phone in my hand. I didn't even bother with small talk. "Lisa," I said, voice trembling, "I know about Ryan. About the hotel receipts, the late-night texts. It's all right there. Care to tell me what the hell is going on?" Her face twisted into that familiar bitchy sneer. "Oh, come on, Mike, you're overreacting. It's not what you think, it's just work stuff, okay? Ryan been helping me with some project, nothing more." I stared at her, dead serious. "That's bullshit, Lisa. I've seen the text, the hotel receipts. You've been sleeping with him, haven't you?" She scoffed, rolling her eyes like I was some kind of idiot. "You're paranoid. Maybe you're just insecure about the pregnancy. Maybe you're imagining things. Ryan's just a friend, and honestly, I don't owe you an explanation. I'm pregnant, Mike, with Ryan's kid, and you're just going to have to deal with it." That hit like a punch. I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. She said it so casually, like it was nothing, like she was proud of her little lie. I could see the smugness in her eyes, that bitchy grin that said she thought she was winning. But I wasn't ready to give up that easily. I stood there trying to process what I'd just heard, my mind a jumble of anger, hurt, and confusion. I asked her again, voice shaking, "Are you serious? You're telling me you've been sleeping with your boss and now you're pregnant with his kid? How long has this been going on?" She shrugged, leaning against the wall like she didn't care. "Since last month, around the time I told you I was pregnant. You're too blind to see it, but I've been miserable with you. Ryan made me feel alive again, and yeah, I slept with him. So what? I'm not a saint, Mike. I never pretended to be one. I wanted to scream, to break something, but I just stood there, stunned. My world was crumbling piece by piece. All those dreams we had, all the plans for our future gone. I looked at her bitchy, confident face, and I realized this wasn't just about infidelity. It was about betrayal of the worst kind. She had lied to me, cheated on me, and now she was telling me she was carrying another man's child. I remember feeling numb, like I'd somehow stepped outside myself. I told her I needed space, that I was going to think about everything. Inside, I was already planning my revenge, how I was going to make her pay for this, even if it destroyed me in the process. Because at that point, I felt like I'd already lost everything. After she left the room, I just stood there, staring at the door, trying to process what had just happened. My mind was racing, a tornado of emotions, anger, heartbreak, disbelief, and a sense of betrayal that cut so deep I couldn't breathe properly. I couldn't believe she'd been hiding this from me all along, hiding Ryan, hiding the hotel receipts, hiding her pregnancy. It felt like my entire world had been a lie, and I was just starting to see the cracks before everything shattered completely. I knew. I couldn't just accept this. I had to do something. I started thinking about my options. What could I do? I wasn't naive enough to think I could just forgive her and move on. No, this was beyond that. I'd never in my life felt this level of pain, but I also knew I couldn't just let her get away with it. I had to make her see that I wasn't going to be some naive fool, that she couldn't screw me over and walk away like it was nothing. I started digging deeper into her phone again, looking for more proof, more evidence, anything to give me leverage. That's when I found it. A new string of texts, more messages from Ryan talking about the next hotel stay, the secret plan, and how they were so close to finally being free. There was even a message where she said she was glad she'd told Ryan about the pregnancy, that she wanted him to be involved, that she was tired of hiding everything. It was all so clear now. She'd been planning this, hiding it all along. And the worst part, she had the nerve to act like she was the victim, like she was doing everything for herself. Her bitchy attitude, her lying, her cheating, it all made me furious. How dare she make it seem like I was the bad guy when she was out screwing her boss and using her pregnancy as some kind of weapon. I felt my blood boiling. I decided I needed to see Ryan for myself, confront him, and get some answers. I didn't want to believe she was that manipulative, that she'd been using her pregnancy as a shield, as a way to keep me from fighting back. I also knew I had to be careful. I couldn't just storm over there without thinking. This was a game now, and I had to play it smart. I spent the next couple of days planning. I wanted to catch her in a lie, expose her for what she really was, a selfish, lying bitch. I also wanted to make sure Ryan knew I wasn't some pushover. I started gathering evidence, photos of her hotel receipts, the texts, even started recording some of her late-night calls. I knew it was manipulative, but I didn't care anymore. I needed to make her see that I wasn't going to let her walk all over me, not anymore. It was a lot to process, and honestly, I felt like I was walking on a tightrope. One wrong move and I'd lose everything. But I also knew I had to face the facts. My wife had betrayed me in the worst way possible, and I was ready, well, nearly ready, to do whatever it took to make her see that I wasn't going to be a doormat, that I deserved the truth and I'd fight for it, even if it tore everything apart. The day I finally decided to go confront Ryan was the day everything started to come apart for good. I found out where he lived, got in my car, and drove over there with a mix of rage and determination. I wasn't sure what I was planning to say, probably just to yell at him, maybe threaten him. I don't know. All I knew was that I needed to see him face to face, to make sure he knew I wasn't some pushover who'd sit around and take this bullshit. When I got there, I saw his house. Big, fancy, the kind you see in those TV shows, and I felt like punching the wall. I knocked on the door and it swung open almost immediately. Ryan looked surprised to see me, but there was that smirk on his face like he thought he was untouchable. I could see the arrogance in his eyes, and I knew I was about to blow his whole game apart. "Mike," he said like he was greeting an old friend. "What brings you here?" I didn't hold back. "I know what you've been doing, sleeping with my wife, betraying me, using her pregnancy as a cover. How long has this been going on? He looked me up and down, then chuckled. Relax, man, it's not a big deal. Lisa and I have been together for a while now. She's with me, not you. You're just the guy she married. She doesn't even love you anymore. That's when I saw red. I stepped closer, voice low and steady. You're fucking her, aren't you? You've been screwing her behind my back and she's pregnant with your kid. You're just a cheat like her and I'm sick of this bullshit. He sneered and shrugged. Yeah, maybe I am. But what are you gonna do about it? That's when I snapped. I realized I'd been holding everything in, years of frustration, betrayal, heartbreak, and it all exploded at once. I started yelling, cursing him out, telling him what a piece of shit he was and how he'd ruined my life. I told him I was going to make sure he paid for this, that I'd make her regret everything she'd done to me. But then something unexpected happened. Ryan just looked at me calm, almost amused. You can try, man, but you're not getting her back. Lisa's made her choice. She wants me and she's going to have my kid. That's just how it is. That was the moment I realized there was no winning this battle. Ryan was too confident, too sure of himself. I felt the last bit of hope slip away. I turned to walk out, vowing to myself that I'd find another way to fight back, to get my life back in order. Because right then I knew I had lost her. I'd lost the future I thought we had, and I had to accept that. Driving back home, I felt empty, drained. The rage was still there, but it was tempered with sadness now. I'd been betrayed, and I knew I'd never see her the same way again. I'd seen her true face. The bitchy, manipulative woman I'd loved turned into someone else entirely. And the worst part, I was starting to accept that I might never get her back, that maybe I'd have to rebuild my life from scratch, alone. The days that followed were a blur of sleepless nights and endless thinking. I couldn't escape the image of Lisa's face, her bitchy smirk, her lies, her betrayal. It was like a punch in the gut every time I closed my eyes. I kept replaying everything, the texts, the hotel receipts, the confrontations, and trying to find some clarity. But all I felt was this crushing sense of loss, of betrayal, and a burning desire to make her pay for what she had done. I knew I had to make a decision. Do I fight to save this marriage? Do I walk away and start over? Or do I just sit here, drowning in my own pain? Honestly, I was so angry at the whole situation I couldn't see straight. I started to think about revenge, not just to hurt her, but to make her see that I wasn't some fool she could step on. I wanted her to feel the pain I was feeling, to understand how much she'd screwed up. So I started planning my move. I gathered all the evidence I had, screenshots of texts, hotel receipts, recordings of her late-night calls. I even reached out to a private investigator I knew, just to see if there was more I could find. I wasn't planning to go easy on her. I wanted her to realize she'd lost her marriage, her family, everything because of her choices. I wanted to make her regret ever crossing that line. One night I left a trail. I sent her a message, harsh and direct, telling her I knew everything, that I was done pretending, and that I was going to make her regret betraying me, that I wasn't going to let her use her pregnancy as an excuse or a weapon anymore. I wanted her to feel the weight of her lies. I knew it was risky, but at that point I didn't care. I was so furious, I wanted her to understand that I wasn't going to be the guy who forgave and forgot. The next morning she called me, all defensive, trying to deny everything, spinning her usual bullshit. You're overreacting, Mike. You don't understand. I was stressed, the pregnancy, been hard, and I needed someone to talk to. Ryan's just a friend, I swear. Her voice was bitchy, like she thought she could just lie her way out of everything. But I'd heard enough. I told her I was done, that I was going to leave, and that she better get her act together because I wasn't going to tolerate this anymore. That's when she started crying, a nasty, manipulative cry that didn't fool me for a second. She acted like I was the villain, like I was the one who had done wrong. But I saw her for what she was, a lying, cheating bitch who thought she could get away with everything just because she was pregnant. And honestly, that made me feel even angrier. She used her pregnancy as a shield, as a weapon, to keep me from confronting her, and now I was done playing nice. I made up my mind. I was going to leave, but not before making sure she knew exactly how much she'd screwed up. I was done being the naive husband who believed her lies. I was going to make her see she'd lost the best thing in her life, me, and that I'd never forgive her for the way she'd torn everything apart. Even if it shattered me, I knew I had to do this. I had to fight for whatever dignity I had left. The final decision didn't come easy, but in the end, I knew I couldn't stay. After everything, her lies, her cheating, her manipulation, I couldn't look her in the eyes and pretend it was all okay. I packed a bag, left her with the cold, hard truth, and walked out of that house knowing I was finally freeing myself from the chaos she brought into my life. It hurt like hell. I won't lie. Even now, the memories haunt me. Her bitchy smirks, the hotel receipts, the late-night texts, the pregnancy she used as a weapon. But with each day that passes, I get a little stronger. I realized I deserve better than someone who can betray me so easily, someone who lies and cheats just to feel alive. I learned that sometimes you have to lose everything to find yourself again. I still think about her, about what could have been, but I also know I can't go back. The trust is shattered beyond repair. All those dreams we built are gone, replaced by bitter truths I'll carry forever. But I also know I can rebuild. I can find happiness again on my own terms. I've learned that revenge isn't about hurting her anymore. It's about reclaiming my dignity, my peace. Looking back, I wish I'd seen the signs earlier, but I also realize some things you just can't control. People lie, betray, and use you if you let them. But you can choose how to respond. I chose to walk away, to protect what's left of me, and to start over. It's not easy and it never will be simple, but I know I'll get through it. And maybe someday I'll find someone who values honesty, loyalty, and respect. Someone who won't betray me the way Lisa did. For anyone out there going through something similar, here's my advice. Trust your gut, but don't let it destroy you. Confront the betrayal head-on, but don't lose yourself in the process. Sometimes the best revenge is simply walking away and proving you're better than what they tried to make you. Life moves on, and so will you. Just remember, you deserve someone who truly values you, not someone who uses your love as a stepping stone for their own selfish gain.